my channel. Sorry it's been a minute since I uploaded. I know some people have asked for certain videos and I'm trying to figure out a way to record them in a way that's interesting and informational. I still am definitely a beginner to this content creation and tattooing in general, so I want to make sure that the information that I'm putting out is useful to you guys, but now that I'm back, I feel like I do have something to share today that is useful and something that's just kind of fun and exciting. I invested in a new treat for my business. I got a MacBook Air because my last laptop died when I was trying to send emails, which is the worst. This finally came in after the fact. I also have some more information that kind of ties into my last video about how I book my clients that I think you guys will find really useful because I know it's helped me a lot. So I'm really excited to kind of have an extension to that that goes even more into depth on how I send emails in mass quantities that are customized to each of my clients, and it seriously helped with this last booking round so much because it was the biggest one yet, and I just know people will find it useful. I got comfy in bed and I got everything signed in on my Mac. I'm going to be recording over here while also screen recording so that you can see what I'm doing. If you watched my last video, which I would recommend you do before you come here, I had shown you that I use Google Forms to collect all of the information that I need from my clients, and I would go into that right now, but I showed you what that looks like in the last video, so if you haven't seen it, I would go back and watch that. I currently don't have a blank version of that I feel comfortable, like everything on my forms right now has client information, so I'm not going to show you that. But if you do go into forms, sign in, go to the form that you used to collect everything, this is how I send responses after I have collected everybody's information. One of you guys, and I feel really bad because I meant to go and look at who commented it, but somebody on the last video commented that in Google Forms you can go to, I don't know why I completely missed this, but there is a little button with the Google Sheets little green, it's like a little green box with the white cross on it, and it says go to Sheets or something like that, or export in Sheets. I can't exactly remember because again I'm not pulling up my forms currently, just to protect my clients' information. If you go there, it'll take you to Google Sheets, which is kind of like Google's version of Excel, and it takes all of your questions and formats it in an Excel sheet, or I guess sheet, I don't know, but it's really useful to see the information laid out like that instead of having to click through each form. And so what you're gonna do is with that information, you're gonna go into a new sheet, so create a separate one, and you're gonna use these specific headers or columns, I guess, and you're gonna just take whatever information is useful from the transcribed sheet from the forms. So that one's gonna have a lot of other information that's kind of, I don't know, useless at this point, but make these columns. So I want you to make an email column, a name column, hours, description, quote, and then date drafted, and write them out like this, and then take whatever information from that that's going to be useful and put it in here. So for example, I just used my own personal information, again, to protect my clients. I'm not going to use anybody else's. Under the email, that's, I would copy all of the emails that I'm going to use from the submitted forms and I would put them there. I'm going to copy the same names for those corresponding. And then the only part that's going to take a little bit longer where you're going to have to personally decide is the amount of hours that you're going to want them to select a time for if you're doing the same exact, kind of booking system that I said last time with using Square appointments to do that. So in this example, I'm going to say 2 hours according to what their form says. I'm going to guess, okay, I think that's going to be 2-hour appointments, so put that in. You're going to go through and do that for everybody. It does take a minute to kind of visualize how long it's going to take, and then you're going to put the description, and usually I do have that as a question on the forms, so I can just copy those directly over, and that's just the description of what the tattoo is. And then the quote is usually really easy to correspond depending on the amount of time that I say it. I usually usually will just look at their budget and then type those in according to how long I think it'll take, and then if it fits within their budget, then we can figure that out. And that's just the financial quote for them, so that they know how much to expect. You don't have to add that, but I like to add it into my emails. I think that it helps everybody be on the same page so that they can kind of expect what to pay when they're showing up for their appointment. And then date drafted, you're just gonna leave blank. Once you go through and you get all of these filled out, I want you to go into a Google Doc now. And this is where I use that generic email that I said that I used to use. And before, I would just copy and paste this exact thing that you're seeing, this exact sheet, and I will give you guys all of the links to these so that you can use them too, and then just, change it according to what you need. This is the generic email that I would use for everybody, and I would go in and I would manually copy and paste this for everybody, and then change out the portions of this where you can see I have brackets, so hi, name, and then that would be whoever it's going to, and then there's a few other variables, which are the variables that were at the top of that Google sheet that I just had. Their email, their name, the amount of hours that the appointment's going to take, the description of their tattoo, the quote, are all going to be variables that you would normally have to go in and manually change on this generic email. You're going to put all of those into brackets, depending on where they are. If you're using this, then you would just use the same things that I told you to. Make sure that they are spelled the exact same way that you had them on that Google sheet. I have email as a lowercase column header here where I say their email or, the hours or name or anything. Make sure that whatever's in the brackets here is the exact same as those column headers on the sheet. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And then what you're going to do is bounce back to the sheets, and you're gonna hit extensions and then go to Apps Script. And this is kind of like Google's coding website. I already have this in here, but I used this really nifty hack that I found while I was scrolling through TikTok, and it is this person. Her name is Katie Decora, I think. That is the title of her website, and I will leave all of these links below. I will leave the exact link to this site page that I'm using. But Katie Decora is a queen, and she made us a line of script or code that you can use to do this. Mine is already transferred to this, but you're gonna copy the script that is on her website that I will leave below, and you're just gonna follow all of her description on how to do this, which I've already kind of walked you through some of the first steps that she tells you to. And on her website, she has that script that you copy and paste on Google Script. That's already here, so you're gonna delete whatever. I think there's a few lines to start you off. I just cut those and then pasted this in here. And you're gonna adjust a few things that she said, which it walks you through, and so I don't wanna totally tell you how to do that because it's pretty straightforward, and I figured it out using her website. Just make sure that you follow each of her steps. There's only a few. It seriously doesn't take that long. You just copy a link portion from the Google Doc, and then you adjust a few things. If you have specific questions, you can ask me, but I think that she does a really good job explaining it even without a video on her website, so I will make sure to leave the link below so that you have that resource. But I think it's pretty straightforward because all you do is you copy and paste, and then you adjust 3 things, and it's really, really easy. You just paste one part, and then you say a couple of other things according to what you say. So here she had me adjust the subject line, and so for this I just said tattoo because that's what I want to show up as the subject line when people receive an email from me. And that's the only thing that I could see being important that makes this more specific to booking tattoo clients. Once you do that, you can run the script. You're gonna go to that little button that says select function and run. It may have you do a few settings just to say that you're okay with it getting into your email account, because it is going to go into your Gmail account to do this, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But because I've already run this, it's not going to show me on the screen, but it usually just says, I think it says this is too advanced, or this is sketchy looking because it's accessing parts of your Gmail. And then you just go, I think there's a little tiny fine text at the bottom of that pop-up. There's something that says advanced settings, and then you just go in and say I'm okay with this. if you're okay with this. And nobody else is accessing it, it's just coming from your app script into your Gmail. So it's nothing crazy, I can't see anything, nobody else can see anything. It's just saying that you understand that it is going to be accessing your Gmail account. Here I can see that it has executed what I wanted it to do, and hopefully, if all went well, if I go into my Gmail account that is tied to all of these accounts. So make sure that you're using the same Gmail account for, you know, the sheets, the doc, your form, the app script, and then, you know, just having your email open. Make sure that they're all the same coordinating. But once you get into your drafts on email or on Gmail, it has your drafts. And if, you know, I only had one on the example that I showed you of that sheet, but it's just taking everything and combining it together. So it meshes the information from the sheets with that generic email that we had drafted on Google Docs, and it smashes them together somehow using this code and sends it directly to your email account. And if you go down to the drafts portion of your account, it'll pop up. This was not here before, and if I click on it, it shows me my perfect little drafted email that has the name that I put and the amount of time. It has all those variables that were customized to each of those lines on Google Sheets. And then all you have to do, you know, let's say you had like 30 pop up, and as soon as you run that code, you're gonna have 30 drafts go into your drafts, and then you just have to hit send on all of them. And you can double check them just to be safe, but they are good to go. I hope that this makes sense. I think that Katie's website makes it fairly easy to follow this. I just wanted to show you how I utilized her information and made it specific towards sending emails to book my clients for tattoos. I guess you could use this for any other booking, but for the purpose of this video, it is for a tattoo artist who is trying to book clients. And then all you have to do is hit send, and that takes a few seconds to go through and, you know, hit however many sends. But then you're not having to go through and manually type in all of those, because a lot of that can be copy and pasted on Google Sheets instead of having to copy and paste each email. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like I was just running my tongue 100 miles an hour, but if you can take anything away from this, I hope that it is as helpful as it was for me. I super appreciate the commenter who told me that I could use Sheets to look at my forms, because that kind of kickstarted this whole rabbit hole of like digging into technology to see if I could make my life easier, and it did. It made my last booking round so much easier, and I'm so excited to use it for future booking rounds, because once you get over that first one, you can just copy and paste and use it for all of your future bookings. So yeah.